Good morning, everybody, once again, and we're so happy to be present in this class, our Sunday gathering. This is First Center of Spiritual Living, and we are 204 West 84th Street. It's a very beautiful day here at the center, New York, Manhattan, and we are so happy to have you all join us today for today's class. And it's a Memorial Day, Sunday, and we'll be sharing a lot of things amongst ourselves. But before we get into all we've planned for you today, I'd like to invite our dear Celia Knight for the opening affirmative prayer. Miss Celia. Thank you.
Good morning to all. Greetings from First Center Spiritual Living. It's time to center ourselves and know the truth that there is one life. That life is magnificent. It's a power and presence for good, greater than you are, and you can use it. In the awareness of the one good, each and every person attending this lesson is aware and centered in the knowledge that good is circulating in, through, and as his or her being, and that this good is extending out to everyone. It is a presence of light and love, of life, of wholeness, of beauty and power and order and grace. It is a presence of joy, a presence of love, and it is operating and acting through this lesson and the ideas expressed and the insights gleaned from this lesson, and all is very well. I now release this treatment unto the law of mind. It is demonstrated, and so it is.
Thank you, Miss Celia. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, once again for joining us for our today's meeting. Just to remind you that this is First Center of Spiritual Living, and we're welcoming spiritual community, and we're here to transform lives for empowered living. And we also, like I said earlier, we'll be celebrating Memorial Day today. And I'll quickly give the announcements, and I'll go on with what we'll be expecting from everyone, if you don't mind. This afternoon, after the lesson that'll be coming from Dr. Greg, would have Miss Celia Knight, and she will be reading and discussing Never, Never Compare. That's the title of the discussion. Then we are doing an important work, and we are not coming down. If you'd want to join or donate to what we are doing, we have our donate buttons in the chat room. We have one to our website, PayPal, and Amazon Smile. Then we have a program on June 12th. It's our welcome party. Like we've been announcing, we are welcoming people, participants, and students of this teaching back to the center. We are 204 West 84th Street. If you'll be around New York or you live in New York, we'll welcome you. We'll be having a welcoming party. It will be at 10:45. The lesson would go on as usual, and we'll have the party and community time after the day's lesson. Then we still having our virtual membership going on. We also have the links in our chat room. We basically just need your name, your address, your email or phone number. And it's a token fee of $50 for the year. And there are so many things you derive from joining what we are doing here. And before we bring Dr. Greg, we'd like to, of course, we said that we're celebrating Memorial Day today, and we know it's a time where we celebrate active personnel that served us in the military. And also, in extension, we want to also celebrate those of us that have served, have been part of us here in the ministry, that have worked hard. And I know so many of us also working hard, taking care of our loved ones, our family members, or in any way you're working. There are so many of us that are teachers and helping us groom the younger generation. So we'll be celebrating everyone today. And I would like if you can send the names of people you want to celebrate, loved ones that you miss that are still here of transition, and you want to celebrate what they've done in your life, in the lives of everyone around. You put their names in the chat room and 1 or 2 sentences about them that you want us to talk about today. And we'll also open up the mics for people to discuss and say 1 or 2 things about their loved ones or family members or friends that, you know, they've sown into the lives of others and the nation as a whole. So we'll be doing that in a short while Dr. Greg comes on. But before we go on, I'd like to invite Reverend Judith and let her give us her insights on Memorial Day. Good morning, Reverend Judith.
Good morning, Jimmy, and good morning, everyone. It's Memorial Day. I had an uncle who was in the service, who's made his transition. So we celebrate and give thanks to those who served the country in any way that they did. I don't know, not just fighting on the ground of however they do it, but the medics, just the medics, I don't know, but the service, not just lifetime military people, but, you know, just giving, just supporting what they love, what they see as good, that should, I'm going to say should be continued for the good of the majority, for all concerned, really. So I think it's a high calling to be willing to go into the military. But first is that love, that desire to help, to be of service in some way. And for some choose the military, the medics of what, I don't know, they're different groups, but it's all coming from, or maybe the idea of love and givingness and help for as many as possible, and something that you can do. So that we recognize, because we wouldn't be here if those few people, or whatever many there are, didn't have that idea in mind, you know. So yeah, Memorial Day. And don't ever forget it, because someone had to do it for us to still be here.
Yes, absolutely.
And we appreciate it. We give thanks for it. And we bless them, whether they're still here with us or have made their transition, because it's the memory of it. Love never dies.
Yeah, absolutely.
It all starts from that love.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'd like to say something. I'll call Celia up. Let's have her own point of view. But now something just occurred to me that Memorial Day, it's also a reminder that a baton has been passed on to those of us that are still alive. I mean, some people have walked in the past, did the good work, and moved it on to us. Like we have the baton. So what and how are we holding on the baton that's been passed on to us? Are we doing this work, like Reverend Judith said, with love? Because one of the principal things about Memorial Day is love. Some people sowed, some people worked for us, and that's why we're here today. Are we doing that work of love for the next generation? Are we preparing the battle for the next generation that will be coming after us? So that's something that just occurred to me, that is passing the battle dutifully, you know. So Celia, would you like to share something about Memorial Day? Thank you. Thank God. Thank you, Celia.
This Memorial Day, I'm thinking of all of you. Yes, the baton has been passed to us, and many of us are doing wonderful things. Some are teachers, some work in retail, some work online, and I'm thinking of you. Yes, my family served in the military, but my thoughts go out to you. I love my family, and they were so good to me. And most of the people who cared for me when I was young have now made their transition. They passed the baton to us. The power and presence for good is our source, our true source. And that is that power that moved through them so that they could give their gift to the world. And it also moved through them as way showers and guardians and parents so that we could flourish as healthy adults. So I thank them all. I remember the source of our good that is ever present with us, is ever present with all people. And even though it's not clear sometimes, we may not all agree on everything, there is one underlying unity that looks out for all of us and awakens us, alerts us to our true magnificence in spirit. Happy Memorial Day to all of you. May it be a pleasant experience, and may it be filled with gratitude for those who came before you and those who are to follow you and extend the ideas that have been suffused through your being and made you the wonderful people that you are.
Thank you so much, Celia. God bless you. May I call on Nancy? She sent something in the chat room. I would have read it, but since she's up here, let me call her to say it.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, good morning to everybody. I'm so glad everybody's here. Thank you for being here. I just sent him a note. Can I read it while I sent it? I just said I wanted to celebrate my dad, who was transitioned in 2005. He served in the Navy, and he was an inspiration to me because he really showed me how to dream big. And so I said he was an inspiration. And that was it. Yeah, my father, Eugene O'Neill, he served in the Navy. Thank you, James.
You're welcome. Thank you, Nancy. I'd like to say something briefly. This is an extension. We talked about Memorial Day. Of course, we are remembering those that have worked. Like I said earlier, generally we are celebrating Memorial Day for those that worked in the military and worked for us in the past, and we have it today, and we are enjoying. And like I said earlier, that we also are here working for the next generation. I like to remember Reverend Joyce Jackson, and who also worked for us here. We have ministers that have worked here for us. And I remember basically something I said sometime about her. One time we were doing a class here. She was conducting it with Reverend Judith. And we sent something to print and it didn't print. And she basically came and told me, come on, James, speak to the printer. Your words have power, you know. And we did, and it printed. So these are part of the things that we're talking about, passing on the battle, you know, either by words of mouth or by things you do and we observe. So thank you so much, everyone. And I'd like to call on Dr. Greg and for the lesson today. Yes, please.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to First Center. Thank you, Celia. I was hearing you in the hallway. I love seeing all those names up there, names I can recognize. Today's a special day. It's Memorial Day, and this is going to be a little bit different of a service for us. Usually we have fairly structured services. We try to give you lessons from current lessons from Raymond Charles Barker, lessons from Louise, lessons from Reverend Wade. We have a tremendous amount of material on our website, and it's all available to you. Everything we have on Facebook is available to you. All of our rebroadcasts are available to you for free. So I'd like you to join us always. You can join us in membership. You can join us simply by viewing our material. So we're happy to see you, all of you. I could see so many names that are familiar and so many names also that are new. So welcome, welcome, welcome to the center. We're always grateful to have you with us. Celia's with us today. She's a spiritual warrior in the sense she's always here and she's always insightful. So we're very grateful. And those of us who are, here in New York, we'd really love to have you start coming back because we have people coming in, and it's really nice for them to be welcomed by people. Jimmy and I are doing our best, and Celia. So I'm calling out to the New Yorkers to start coming back into our community as we're building it up. I want to give a special welcome to anybody who's new today. And I know there's quite a few of you who are. This Sunday gathering is going to be uplifting. We're here to lift you up. I'd like to hear today, because of Memorial Day, anybody that you have concern about, anybody that you miss, anybody who's been sick, any of your family members who possibly, because it's Memorial Day, perhaps you've lost someone. So this is going to be a day of prayer. And if there's anyone that you particularly want to bring into our prayer circle today, I'd like you to send those names to us in the chat, or send them to Jimmy on his device, because we want to include everybody here today that needs a prayer, wants to be included in the process. I want to remind you also that we meet here every Thursday at 7, where we teach a powerful class based upon Ernest Holmes and Louise. That class is called the Hay and Holmes class. It's called many things, but it's an ongoing self-healing class based upon Louise Hay's work. And I've been teaching that class or presenting it because it's really an interaction with other, it's a lesson and there's interaction. And I've been teaching that class for over 25 years, every single week. So it's ongoing. Invite your friends to it. It's definitely a spiritual uplift each week. So we're always using the metaphysical approach, either on Thursdays or Sunday mornings. As those of you who are here, you're invited to join us, your friends. If you want to support this incredible work, which is now reaching hundreds of people every week, you can support us just by being present like you are now, and sharing your insight when it's time to share. You don't have to share, but we always invite you in your comments. Today, we're asking for your prayers. If you want to support us with your prayers. You're welcome, of course, to donate always, or make a donation. You're welcome to become a member. You can be a virtual member for only $50 a year, and with it you get free materials, some of our better talks, and also you get a counseling session with yours truly, or Reverend Judith, or mostly me. So please join our membership. We'd love to have you. It's a great value, but membership's not required. So it's totally optional here, and everything that we have for the most part is available to you at no cost. So invite your friends. What we celebrate here each week, very simply, is truth. And it's always going to be a reminder of how great you are, and a reminder that you are an individualization of God life yourself. So let's get into our talk today, because today it's an important talk, and you're important. I'm reminded of Reverend Theo, because she would tell you you are love, and you know. I want Jimmy to get me her exact quote. I asked for it last night. Please, is it here? So please make sure I remind you every single week that you're important, because that's my job, and because it's true. Even when you've forgotten that you're important, it's my job to remind you how great you are. You're a spiritual being, and you're really wonderful. We forget that. And that's one of the messages in the Louise Hay class. You know, we're always needing to remind ourselves, you know, that we're important, and the people in our world are important. And a lot of people live with low self-esteem. Louise said, the bottom line for everybody is I don't feel good enough in some way, and I compare myself to others. And from Emerson, we'll know that comparison, the imitation, and trying to be like others, Emerson thought is suicide. So you're really something special. And my job and our focus every week is to remind you of the truth of who you are, how far you've come. And you might think, who, me? You know, because some of you who are new don't really have yet a full understanding of who you are, because you have your identity in God. You are one with God, you are one with the Father, and you have abilities and powers that you probably don't know, and none of us fully use. Each of us have come a long way. If you think back in your life, you're going to realize that you've grown a lot already. You might not think so, but you have. If you're on this call and if you're listening, you've already come a long way. If you reflect back on even a few years to where you are now, you'll realize that you've grown. And it's helpful occasionally to think about and meditate. You know, you've overcome a lot. You're stronger than you think. So we're here to remind you of that truth, and help celebrate you and help you to awaken to the greatness that you have, and remind you that spirit is within. And we'll keep reminding you that of every single week. I want to tell you something today before we get into the whole Memorial Day aspect of it. And I want to hear it again, send us in the chat the people you want to have included in our prayer circle today. I want to tell you something that Dr. Bill, one of my better teachers, and I've had some great ones, told me over 30 years ago. And I'm going to say it to you today. You, I'm meaning any of you who seriously are getting involved in this teaching and attempting to live this teaching in earnest, or trying to practice this teaching, which is what we call the affirmative life. Any of you who are doing this are truth students. And any of you who are doing this just with a little bit of seriousness, you are the lifters that exist in the world today. You know, you are the people, there's slides here, Anthony. You are the people that are here to lift the world. As you're working on loving yourself, you are here lifting up other people. You already are doing so much just by being you. You're lifting the world with your consciousness. My gosh, you don't even really know it. With every smile you give, with every gesture you give, with every acknowledgement you give one another, you're lifting people. I was also told years ago that people who practice this teaching in earnest are the cheerleaders of life, because you're committed to seeing the good even when there's no evidence of good. And so this is a faith, and this is a way of life, knowing that God is present and you're here to witness that and live that and come from that place. I want those of you who are learning to live the affirmative life to become optimistic. I mean, because I want you to know, just being who you are, you're lifting the world up, you're lifting yourself up. And there's not enough of us in the world, apparently, as you can see by what's going on in the world, and there needs to be more of us. Ernest Holmes thought this philosophy that we teach is going to be the great spiritual, what was his word, force of the next generation now, and it needs to be. The fact that we have so many like-minded people here today is amazing to me. I cannot count the number of people on the board today, and I know there will be 200 people listening to this talk by the end of the week. We now have a mailing list. We have phone numbers of over 5,000 people that have tuned into us, that interact with us. We're getting dozens of people every week now that want to talk and get some direction. And so we're grateful that we can provide this service, and in any way you can support us, we appreciate it. So we want to thank you for being here today, first of all, to support this valuable work that we do. And we want to acknowledge you on this Memorial Day and all the work that you do. So today it's about everybody. It's about you. It's about the names that you're sending in, the people you want us to take up in prayer. And it's also for the growth and the expansion that you've experienced and that you share in the world every single day of your life. Each of you together in this community are making the world a better place. So are you ready to get your consciousness up this morning? Are you tuned in? Are you willing to go there? Lift your, it's really involving tuning in. Now, there's an image that I found. You can show it again. See, we're pretty good here. We're good with mind, and we're good with our thinking, and, we know our thoughts, right? Produce our life. Our consciousness plays out. Today, I'm going to ask you to do something a little bit different than what I usually do, because this is an important day. I'm going to ask you to take those thoughts and those beautiful brains and that thinking that you have, I'm going to ask you to bring it right into your heart today. So whatever you say, you're going to bring it into your hearts, bring it to a deeper place. We got a lot of spiritual work to do here today. So again, anybody or anything that's bothering you, anybody that you remember that's touched you, bring it in to, send it to Jimmy, send it into Anthony, into the chat. If you're here in New York City, once again, I'd love to invite to have you back in the center, because we're having such a great virtual community. We want to bring the New Yorkers back together because it'll make us even more powerful. We're glad to have all the virtual people. We're hearing from people all over the world now. I mentioned Jimmy and Anthony told me now it's somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 people that we're interacting with in every kind of way on social media. And that's really exciting, because when I got here, we had an audience of 25 to 38 people most weeks. So we have all these people that are being benefited by us coming together. So I want to thank you for helping me hold this space and bring our lesson forward. I want to thank you all who are listening to our lessons on Facebook and YouTube who can't be here. So for all the work that you do, our technicians, our staff in the office, and the things that people send us to help us with the service. I've got a picture of a heart here, which I think Anthony showed you. He's going to show it to you again, because this is where we're going to go today, from our thinking to our heart, and I can't read it from here, but I will walk over. The longest journey we travel is the distance from our head to our heart. So today, I'm going to invite you to, as we think about the people that we love and that we remember, to bring them into our heart space and with love. And there's a lot of people today that we want to bring into our heart space with love. It's got to come from our hearts. Usually it is to some degree with us, right? But especially today on Memorial Day, I want us to think out of the box. This is a different lesson than anything I usually do. I want to approach this more informally. Memorial Day is a day of remembrance, usually. I've done these kind of talks for many, many years, and I'll give you the whole history of it going back from World War I right through to today. It's a day of remembrance for those who have passed away in service of the country, the people who have fought for our freedoms here in Europe and elsewhere. And I usually tell you the whole history. And today, like every year, we want to start there to honor those and thank them for their service. We want to bring them into our memory and all of their families who will never be the same because these women and men are gone. And, you know, that's impacted their children and their parents, their brothers and sisters. So we bring them today into our heart space in prayer because they existed, they did the work they did for all of our safety. Memorial Day, as I said, goes back long time, World War I. Without giving the whole story, I have a picture here today of the poppy. You might see it. You remember what the poppy represents? During World War I and afterwards, people started wearing it. Initially, they're the real flowers, and then I guess they're plastic. But it was a pin that people wore in remembrance of all that people have gone through and with hope for something better. So today is a day of remembrance and a day of hope. And we bring all of these people into our hearts, all the people who were affected, you know, for fighting for our freedoms, and all their husbands and wives and children that lost their loved ones. And we want to remember the people who lost their lives in World War II. That would have been my father's generation, where many of his buddies were killed and gave up their lives in places around Hawaii and defending Europe. For all of these people, now I guess our grandfathers, uncles, and their extended families, we have not forgotten you. We want to bring them all into prayerful remembrance today. We've not forgotten you. We've not forgotten the people from Vietnam, my friends who lost their lives, and from Korea and Iraq and Afghanistan. We remember you. We remember your families. We're in awe of, you know, what you did and what you did for us and for the freedoms that we have today because of you. So we celebrate everyone who have come before us, and especially too their families who had to go on and live without the people they love. I know so many of you carry a memory in any of these wars of people. I know you have grandfathers. I know you have, you know, your grandmothers have lost their husbands, and some of you have lost your fathers, and you still have that pain. So today we want to bring you into our prayer circle. We want to bring everyone into our prayer circle today. For all of these people who gave up their lives, let's bring them into our hearts today. For all their families who still live with the day-to-day pain of these precious souls lost, who live to protect us, we salute you, we love you, we thank you, and you're being included in this day of prayer. And today, this Memorial Day, I'm going to ask of you once again to send us the names of anyone you would like to have us pray for. It could be somebody that's moved you, helped you, or someone who's presently in need of prayer, people who have touched your lives, whether they are a service person or not. Let's bring them into prayer, because today we're going to be We're going to be including everyone. In earlier times, I would have said we're going to pray them up. That's what the ministers would have been doing 30, 40 years ago. I can't honestly say I know where these prayers, whether these prayers are going up, but we're going to do some praying today. We need to turn to spirit. We need to turn to spirit now more than ever before. And we intend to bring love into this equation. That would be a Raymond Charles Barker quote. We intend to bring love into this equation, the knowledge of God into our reality, to bring spirit in right now as we remember all of these things today in prayer. We invite spirit in because this is a time for healing. So if you want to be included in our prayers today, just send us your names in the chat room or send your messages to Jimmy, because we're going to have a chance to speak today from the heart. In fact, I had to do a little exercise yesterday with one of my dear friends, Maureen, in Colorado. She's been a practitioner forever, and she's a dear friend. And she was talking to me and reminding me that this is an important day for you, Greg, and it's an important day for all of us, because we've all been through some really, very tough times, throughout the country. And we want to take everybody into prayer. We want to, there's that image again, from our head to our hearts. We want to not just be numb to senseless killing. We want to be just like, it can't be in this country anymore that people just die and nobody cares. I'm sure that's not true. But we want to bring these people from our head into our heart. So let us visualize an image in our minds today. Can you imagine, for example, that you have a ladder? Just thinking, almost like close your eyes. You have a ladder up above your head. And today you're going to go with all your brilliant minds, and you're going to have that ladder go down into your heart. It's the journey from the heart, from the head to the heart is approximately 14 to 18 inches. And we're going to go there today. And we're going to step down from our beautiful mind and imagine that ladder going down to our heart, and let it keep going right there to our heart, because today we need our prayers to be powerful. And we need to get out of our heads a little bit more, and we need to bring all of this into our hearts. We need to infuse our prayers with love by inviting spirit into the equation. We're going to pray the situations, and we're going to pray for one and all without exception. I know all of you are individualizations of God, and all of you are brilliant. I teach you that every week. I remind myself of that every week. I teach you every single week what I teach myself. Today, I want to do it a little bit differently, though, because we need to do something a little bit differently. I want us all to connect with our heart and have a place in ourselves where we can realize God for a moment, and where we can include all this pain and all of this, all the things that are happening. It's really quite profound. And so we bring it into our heart where we know God resides. And I want, like Dr. Holmes advised us, let love lead the way. When you pray today, do your very best to feel it. Let it not just be a verbal exercise and affirmation. Let's bring it into our hearts so we can feel it, the love. And as we think of people's names, let's think of them with love. And when we think of people's families, let's feel the love that surrounds them and know that it's true. Allow this person, when we think of them, bring them into your heart. And so this energy can go from you and touch the world and touch the people who are suffering. As most of you know, I don't talk about bad news usually. That's not my job. That's the job of CNN and Fox and other places. It isn't what we do generally. But today, we're going to take all of this stuff. We're going to take it all into prayer, and everyone into prayer, because it's pretty obvious that the level of consciousness that's out there in operation isn't quite operating well right now. I mean, maybe ultimately in the fullness of time, you can realize that God is present. We know that's true. But right now, it certainly doesn't feel that way for most people. And you who are participating in this type of prayer meeting, this type of service, you're a rare breed because you understand that God is here. And so today we want to go from the head into heart and remember that Spirit is here. I don't know about you. I've never seen or witnessed or known a time quite like this. It's just mind-boggling, and there's really not any kind of words. So let us today, let love lead the way. And let's know that people like ourselves with this teaching that Holmes said was going to be the next great spiritual what's his word, force. Let us know that people like us and what we know and what we teach are needed really so much right now. True students are not ignorant of the facts, by the way. Just because we're not always talking about the problem, we're not blind. We approach difficult situations and people by raising our consciousness. So I'm inviting all of you today to join the spiritual circle of prayer, this virtual circle that you're all a part of. And we're going to include everything and anyone that comes to mind. And we want everyone that you have to be included. There's a lot of people hurting all over the nation right now. I was on phone calls to people in Denver. I was on phone calls to people the Northeast, Florida, the Midwest this week. There's a lot of people hurting all over the nation and beyond. We can look to Ukraine. It's really quite extraordinary. So what I know this group is going to do today is raise our consciousness together in prayer and in certainty. And I know it's going to be a help, and I know it's going to reach people who need our help. So let's continue on with our little bit of a out of the box Memorial Day session today. Today is the day of remembrance and hope. So it's right first to give honor to the people who have given their lives to protect us, as I said. But we're going to do much more than that now. Every person who has ever touched you, I want you to bring them to mind. Your mother, your father, your grandpa, any person that you remember who has touched you, who's helped you, bring them to mind, because we want to celebrate them today. We want to remember them. Anybody who's hurting, anybody who's sick, we're going to bring them into mind and into our hearts, and send us their names if you want them to be acknowledged. We're going to pray for them. We're going to know for them today that there's healing, and things are going to start moving, because we're going to start, doing some powerful prayer work for all of these people. And that's going to lift us up as well. So send Jimmy in those names, because we want to include everybody. Every last person are treasured and valuable, and all of them are important, and we don't want to forget anyone. I was reading this past week that something like 450 people in law enforcement died in 2021. Died protecting our lives, died with COVID, but died. And these are people in active duty. And they've been given a bad name in a lot of places in the country. And I'm sure there are some that, are, not the best of them, but, for the most of them, they live to serve us and to help us be safe. So we want to celebrate these 450 people who have passed away, and their husbands, their wives, their children, their parents, who obviously lost someone that they love dearly. We want to honor them, their husbands, wives, and families, their children. And we're here to acknowledge them today and bring them into our heart, and we're grateful for them. And as we bring them into our mind, into our heart, and all their families, and the thousands of people actually that were impacted by their loss, we bring them into mind, into our hearts, in prayer and recognition for all they did. And we're going to give prayer also to many others. We're going to give prayers for our beloved community here in New York City, First Church, First Center of Religious Science, which is reaching out to hundreds and hundreds of people every single week. And I want to put us in this prayer circle, and I want you to pray for this center. We're doing important work here each and every week. We're working really hard. We know that we're strong and that we're growing and surviving. Even as there's a few people that are trying to do bad things to us, it's always the way. You know, we are supplied and supported. We're much stronger than anything that's could ever be trying to hurt us. You, all of you, are a mighty group of people, and we're going to put this congregation right into the center of the prayer also. So please pray and bring this first center into your heart today when we're doing our prayers. We're going to bring the center and the work we do here into our prayer circle, again, asking for your prayers so that we remain strong and vital and we can continue to grow and grow and grow as we are. And we want to invite any of you who want to join us or help us grow to just let us know, because there's always something that you could do here, be it a poem or a letter or some type of service. And personally right now, I want to bring to mind two of our superstars from the church. These are ministers that I have loved and have made a big difference here in my life since I've come to New York. These are people who have for years given their love and their attention to lift up this center and humanity. The first person I encountered when I got to New York in 2017, and I spent any time with, was Reverend Joyce Jackson. I don't know if Anthony has a picture, who lived here, who lived her life totally committed to uplifting everybody in the community. Joyce could be tough. She was tough with me, but she was always trying to help me lift things up. And I appreciated her to no end. Every person she touched, she taught with her words. We did a beautiful memorial for her in January. And she said, words are all we have. You know, she was quoting a line from the Bee Gees. So we miss Joyce. We celebrate Joyce. We love Joyce. And, you know, her wisdom still lives with many of us who are here. So I speak, I think, for our group, the people who knew her well. And so we send love and prayers to her family, to Rhonda, and all the people who loved her are included today in this day of remembrance. So let's hold her and all her family in prayer today. And once again, I'm asking any of you that if there's anybody that's coming to mind, send their name to Jimmy, send their name to Anthony in the chat. Anyone who touched you, anyone who believed in you most. And before I get on to the next Reverend, I'm gonna, you know, I'm looking at all of you there, and you know, you're all done so much with this center. I want to thank you all. For some reason, as I putting my notes together, this is a somewhat hasty from the heart type of message last night. My father came to mind, and when I was making my notes, because every morning of my adult life, he gave me encouragement, and I was thinking he never criticized me, at least not as an adult. I thought about that last night. He was amazing. Whatever was going on in my life, he would say things like, the universe is giving you green lights. And he would always say, you can do this, whatever it was. And he reminded me always that I can do it. And he got me to see that whatever the problem that I was having, he got me to see it as an exciting challenge. And I would call him, he said, good morning, Gregory. What exciting challenge do you have today? Because he was really trying to get me to understand I have what it takes, and all of you do too. So it was a great message. And I want to extend it to you today because he is in my memory always, and tell you that you have what it takes and you can do this, whatever it is. And I would be remiss not remembering my mother for a moment. She would be upset from wherever she is, because she was always telling me it's entirely up to you. And here's the thing in our teaching, everything, you live at choice and you're creating your life. So for these life-changing messages, I bring her into consciousness, them into consciousness and prayer. I miss them, but I'm eternally grateful for the gifts that they gave me. The next person, our dear Reverend Theodora Barker, was probably the most incredible person I have ever known. There she is in all her glory. She's one of the most interesting people I've ever met. I'll never forget her because she was one of a kind. She spoke directly to my heart. There wasn't a day or a time I met her that she didn't leave by telling me, you know, I love you. And, you know, she was something else. And she really was part of my guiding force from the time I got here. Jimmy gave me a quote from Reverend Theo. I know I could say it, but I wanted to get it word for word. Theodora was often fond of saying, I created you in my image and likeness, and I've placed within you everything needed and necessary for your care and keeping. And she invited us to find that which is within you and use it. Again, I'll say it again because it's really a beautiful thought. She's speaking of spirit. She's speaking of the spirit that we have. She said, and you can say it to yourself, I have created in you, in my image and likeness, and I've placed within you everything needed and necessary for your care and your keeping. Find it and use it. So I'm asking you here to bring Theodora and her timeless words of wisdom into your heart and let it touch you, because you have everything you need within you. So I want to bring her again into our prayer circle today. I don't really have to bring her in because I can feel her here right now. She's always here. She's a part of us. She's always part of this room and part of the center and everything we do. And she's always guiding the way. And we bring her family and Reverend Joyce's family and Rhonda, Joyce's niece, and all these other people into our prayers. These are the people who kept me going through the years, who kept me here times where I felt like, this is too much. And I want to bring Shirley Reed into her circle. And I want to bring especially Shirley's sister into our circle today. Shirley's been taking care of her sister for at least a year, I think now, and she's giving of her time every single day. And so Shirley is one of our greatest treasures, and we especially want to be sending from our hearts love and prayers to Shirley and her sister. She's dealing with a very difficult situation, so let's bring her into our thoughts and prayers and send healing prayers to her sister as well, who she's taking care of day and night. I'm going to bring names of all you have on the call, all that I can read. People like, you know, I see you all every week. And today I want to thank, there's Elisa, and there's Judith, Reverend Judith, and we see Tara and Shirley Jones and Kristen and Susan and Jackie and Maria and Bliss, and I can't see them all. Kathleen, we want to bring you all into prayer, the people that you love. And if there's anybody coming to your mind right now that you think needs to be brought into prayer, because this is a day of remembrance, a powerful day, let's bring them into our heart today, on this Memorial Day. And I know I've got a stack of things that Jimmy's just handed me. As I look down the screen, I want to acknowledge again, there's Celia here and there's Reverend Judith, and I know Theodora is with us, Joyce. So we want to bring them into our hearts too. And I want you to know that every one of you on this call, this sea of names, that we appreciate you. I see there's Shirley from Staten Island there, Shirley Reed. I want to thank you all. I'm asking you all to go again from our heads into our hearts. There's that image again. So let us pray also for this beautiful community, which is touching, again, something like 200, sometimes it's 300 people a week. And let's hold it high in our prayers so we can continue to do the beautiful work that we're doing together. So this Memorial Day, again, we're thinking outside the box. We want you to imagine yourself standing outside yourself with that ladder that's going down, from your brains to your hearts, because this is where we have to go. Because we want to bring everything in prayer. So I'm sending all these prayer requests and all these names, I'm putting them all together now. I want you to know before I get into the next segment that the world needs all of you right now. The world needs the best of us right now. The world needs all of our prayers right now. So we're coming together in this virtual prayer circle with everything we got, and including everyone that's touched us. And we're offering gratitude, and we're remembering their gifts. Again, I can feel Theodora right now. I can sense my parents and so many others who have touched me. And I know you can sense in you the people that have guided you, and bring them into your hearts and memories right now. And we need to be with Ernest Holmes, what he envisioned. We need to be the ones who bring forth peace. Those of us who are living the affirmative life, we are the lifters. I know the next thing I'm going to ask everybody could be difficult, but I've got to ask it. I'm going to ask you to bring all of the 10 souls who senselessly lost their lives in the supermarket in Buffalo, in the most unthinkable hate crime in recent times. I want you to bring all these people into your hearts right now. And I want you to bring their families, their mothers, their fathers, their children. And we want to bring them into our hearts right now. We don't have words for what happened in Buffalo. It's very difficult to wrap our minds around it. I don't want to rail at the politicians and make a stump speech. I just want you to bring them into your hearts, these beautiful human beings that lost their lives. We don't have words for that, but we certainly bring them into our hearts, and we send them love, and we celebrate their lives, and we send our love to the people who are in pain, that love them, you know, whose whole world has been altered because of their loss. I'd like you all to go to your hearts with me and bring every one of these people who are injured into prayer right now and lost. Let's hold them there for a moment, and their families, and everybody that's grieving right now. Just hold them in prayer, and knowing that each of these folks are valuable souls, and we've lost a lot. And so because they're a part of us, and let's bring their families, their loved ones in prayer, and let's see them all in light and surround them all in love. We've all been touched by this loss. So we're sending love to everyone, to the people who've lost their lives and all the people who've loved them. We lift all these beautiful human beings up in our prayer, and we grieve with every one of them and everyone that loves them. We know here that we are individualizations of God, and we know that we're connected with these people and all these people who are victims of senseless tragedy. So let's take a moment and send all the love we can from our hearts to everyone in Buffalo and all of the family members. You know, there's got to be dozens and dozens of people. And beyond that, it's hurt us. It's hurt us as a country. It's everyone I've been talking to this week there's a sense of malaise, and no one really can get in touch with it. So we're getting in touch with it today the way we do, because we are bringing all these folks to mind with love, and we're wrapping them all up in the light and love. And we're sending it to them and knowing that God is with them. So let's bring them into our hearts, since we feel their presence, and send the love that we have to send. And let's do that all together right now. And I need now to bring into this circle, this virtual circle of love and light, the children of Texas. The unspeakable massacre in Texas. I need now to bring into mind and into consciousness and into our hearts, into this healing circle, every child who died in Uvalde, Texas. These beautiful little children who passed away this week. It's really traumatized people from coast to coast. We have to bring them, we want to bring them, every one of those children, into our hearts, and all their grandparents and parents whose lives will never be the same. We bring them into our hearts, and we feel their loss, and we know that God is present, and we want to send our prayers to lift that community up and everyone who is touched. Again, I've spoken to people all over the country this week. I personally hurt. I also hurt because 2 weeks ago, there was a gentleman, a young, for me, 45-year-old in the subway that was just senselessly killed. And, you know, it's unspeakable. And I saw pictures of his beautiful wife, and I want to bring him into mind and their family too. And the people I've spoken to this week talk about a malaise, a sadness, and it's really difficult even to touch it and speak of it. And I've spoken from people, again, from California to Florida to Maine and everywhere else in between. So many conversations. And what I can hear and feel and sense with people is sadness. And we want to bring our country into prayer, because it's apparent that more than ever, our country needs religious scientists. They need people like us who can pray and will pray. And so we bring everybody who's hurting into our prayers today, as well as we bring into prayers the people who have positively influenced us. We bring them all. But as we think back on these children, we want to know, first of all, that these are part of us. These human beings are valuable, and they're part of us. And the people in Buffalo are part of us. They're valuable. And this all is senseless. And as you think about these young children, much as I've asked you to think about the people in Buffalo, we want every one of those beautiful kids to be brought into our circle today. We especially want to bring in their mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and grandparents into our prayer circle today. We want to hold them as high as we can, but first we want to bring their idea of them into our hearts and touch the God within. And we're going to send forth this healing energy to every one of these children and their families. We especially want to bring it to their families right now who must be dealing with unspeakable grief. We want to hold them high with the highest kind of love that we can touch and respect, knowing that our prayer and our heartfelt best wishes, our sense of God, the healing that we know is going to them, surrounding them, and keeping them safe and consoling them. We want to send love and healing light to every single last person, all these families. And last for me, at least, because I know many of you will have many prayers. I want to, again, bring the country into prayer so that we can realize each of us are a part of one another. You know, I don't know Republicans, Democrats, and independents. I know we are Americans. I know we are individualizations of God, and I think we need to remember that. Let us come together today in unity and celebrate one another and celebrate our differences. That's what makes life beautiful. I want to offer our prayers knowing that we are much stronger together than ever we could ever be divided. And last for me, let's bring our elected officials of all the parties together in prayer, that they find common ground and meaningful solutions, not political solutions, but meaningful solutions, you know, not the type that just talk about and do nothing, but let's bring our prayers today from our heart, not with hate, but with love and, you know, wisdom, that our elected officials get their acts together and form some meaningful change. This center remains a center of freedom and inclusiveness, where every last person on earth is welcome to our virtual community. You know, we're open to everyone, and we're going to be turning this discussion over to all of you in a moment. We've got all your prayer requests here. I'm going to read some of them, and then we're going to open up the floor for you to express your thoughts. And I know Reverend Judith is going to pray these people up, and there's going to be some prayers here, and I'm going to do one or two myself. And there's going to be healing here, because we got to heal ourselves first. And so we can extend that to others. I've got some people we want to bring to mind now. Jimmy's given me a little bit of a stack, and you guys can add your own when we turn over the microphone too. From Nancy, we want to bring into prayer her dad, Eugene O'Neill, who served in the Navy, and he transitioned in 2005. He was an inspiration to Nancy, and he helped her learn to dream. She feels him with us today and often. He liked to have fun, so we're going to bring Eugene into our prayer circle today. Thank you, Nancy. And then Susan wants to bring Nick into our prayer circle, who is in a time of transition. And so, Susan, you're in our prayer, and Nick is in our prayer today too. And we're sending love and light to you both. And then Shelley is with us. And Shelley states that she misses every day Lynn Jones. He was a Vietnam vet, a fantastic father, my best friend forever. Today, he visited as a hummingbird hovering over my hammock. I requested a visit yesterday, and he showed up today. Good for you, Shelley. That's wonderful. And Shelley says, I miss Daddy so very much. Love to you all. Please let's include today Pat, who was his wife, and the loss that she feels not having the love of her life anymore with her. He loved and adored her till his last breath, filled her heart with his love and love of source. So let's bring Shelley and Lynn, Vietnam vet, into our prayer circle today. And from Linda, let's please pray for Karen. Karen was the mother of Linda's nephews and niece, who's dealing with a health challenge and dealing with cancer. So let us bring Karen into our prayers today for healing. And also Hope. Hope is an elderly lady who's been hospitalized with many problems. She's been having a problem swallowing. She's got some potentially dangerous issues and complications. So let's bring Hope into our prayers. Let's bring Karen into our prayers for Linda. And let's bring Linda into our prayers also. And Tina, a lovely woman with arthritis and having problems walking. And Deborah Leah, who's got an infestation of some kind. And we want to know that it's easily and quickly overcome. We want to pray for all these people. And Donna wants us to include her dear dad, Bernard, today in this circle of love and prayer. Kathleen wants to mention her aunt, Mickey, who died this week. My goodness, Kathleen. So let's surround Kathleen with love and her aunt Mickey, the last surviving sister of her mother, Joan and John. So all of these we add. Lasanda wants to offer prayers for the center. My own heart, she says. Elisa asks us to pray for Phil and Lauren, that they remember to live in love and that they release all doubt and negativity. Anne Marie wants us to pray for her niece. I'm not reading this correctly. There's a niece and a nephew that are grieving at the passing of their mother and baby sister Claudette. Anne Marie, you're included in your baby sister Claudette and all people concerned here. Kathleen asked us to include Jack Hoy, Joy, Joe, and Lee. Lasanda, the center, and her own heart, I believe. Linda, who's with us today, wants us to include Haley, who lost a baby during pregnancy, almost at the end of the pregnancy. She and her husband are devastated. So let's bring Haley into our prayers, and also her husband, and send them our love over the loss of their child. My goodness, we have a couple more. Anne Marie asked us to pray for her nieces and nephews that are grieving the passing of their mother, and her baby sister Claudette. So prayers to Claudette, prayers for Anne Marie, for her nieces and nephews. Our love and prayers go out to you. And then also to her parents and her mother, Annette, whose mental health is not well. We want to include them into our circle of love. And she thanks us for our prayers. And Janetta, our dear Janetta, who's part of our force here, wants to express her gratitude for her grandfather, John Cuff Sr., who served this country during World War II. I'd also like to pray for my cousin Kalina and James. I would like to pray for my mother Yvette and Father John. I would also like to pray for my grandmother and for all of the youth of the world. And I've got Shirley McQueen here, who wants us to hold all the families that we've mentioned before already of Uvalde, Texas, in our prayers. So we're going to follow Shirley's suggestion that we mentioned, and we are holding everyone from Uvalde, Texas in prayers, just as we're holding everybody in Buffalo in our prayers. And my goodness, from Seth Weinstein, who's with us often, who's one of our regular great contributors, and Kath. We want to pray for Kat's mom, who recently made a transition. That's Dorothy. And Jack's father, Seth's father, Jack. And then Evelyn Weinstein, his mom, and Bess Weinstein, the grandmother, Louis Weinstein, the grandpa, Bill Weinstein, uncle, Harry Horowitz, uncle, Ida Horowitz, Seth's grandma, I believe, Sam Horowitz, who is another grandpa. And then with Kat wants us to include Leonard Wendiger, Les Holla, Larry Wendiger, Mary Holla, Laura and Bill Holla, Joe and Leona Zelig, Larry Wendinger, Joan Chapman, and James Nally is praying for peace and blessings at this center. This center needs your prayers. This center needs your healing prayers. We're growing like mad, and we always are having people that are somehow or another trying to interfere with that growth. But let's pray this whole situation up for the center. The center needs the prayers of everybody here. And Shirley McQueen to everybody. I can't pronounce that name. Shaquina Williams, who's 10 years old, died. She had a 10-year-old son, I believe, who died in a gym class in March 23rd. So let's have our prayers be for Ms. Williams and her 10-year-old son. So let's bring both Ms. Williams and her son into prayer. I've read everybody that's been mentioned. I've mentioned everybody that's touched me. And if there's anybody else that you want to be included today, we're going to open up the microphone. And I'm going to ask Reverend Judith to do a prayer. I'm going to do a prayer, and we're going to let you also, if there's something you want to express, we're going to turn it over to you, and we'll do a closing prayer. But let's start by knowing all of these people, these beloved souls, The people recently who were killed in Buffalo, the young man that was killed in the subway 2 weeks ago, the children who lost their lives, the adult, the teachers, and every single person who loved these people, you know, who have been traumatized, the whole country. The word that was used by Maureen in Colorado yesterday, she says the malaise, the just sense of just things being off, really so badly off. You know, we want to come into our hearts together today with all these people that we treasure and all the people that have been senselessly killed, and all their families. We want to bring them into our hearts right now. And we want to know that God is present, and we want to know and acknowledge that each and every one of these souls are valuable and they're important, and that the whole nation and every one of us realizes that these people, every last one of them, are a part of us, and they're valuable, and we mourn the loss of every last person. We want to state clearly that they're valuable and they're missed. And we want to put a demand on consciousness for a better type of America, and with change, you know, positive change. And we want the country to come together. So we're going to know that that's happening in spirit right now, and that these lives are not lost in vain. So we're going to pray up the whole darn country today, and every last person who's been suffering, and all of the people here who have brought their loved ones into our prayer circle. We acknowledge each and every one of these prayer requests, and we know that each and every situation there is God present, and there's healing going on. And if we do this together today, and we will do it again as we close, we know our words will take flight, and our words are healing. So we approach this whole morning a little differently. We're doing it entirely from the heart. Reverend Theo is definitely with me right now when she said, everything you have is for your good, is inside you. And we're drawing on her spirit today too, as we pray for all of these people. So I'm now going to turn this over to Reverend Judith, and I would like her to do another healing prayer. And then we're going to go to any of you who want to share. And if there's anybody you have forgotten, we'll bring them into our prayer circle also. Let's go to Reverend Judith. Let's pray for everybody, Judith.
Yes. Okay. Let's quieten ourselves wherever we are. Close our eyes, open our hearts, open our minds, and go within and accept the good that is, because God is. And because God is, we are. And know that each person placed in the healing circle this morning, each person that came to our minds that we didn't get a chance, or for some reason didn't place in the healing circle, that they are in the healing circle, because Spirit knows by name each of its individualized expressions of itself, each of its children. And it sees and holds each expression in the wholeness that they are, no matter what they seem to be experiencing on the planet. Each is perfect, whole, and complete. And in this consciousness and knowing that the only true knowing, the only true experience is what Spirit knows and accepts, that all is perfect, whole, and complete. All is well and well indeed, and in choosing and seeing as Spirit God must know and see. We bless everyone, ourselves included, our pastor included, our center included, everyone who has gone through what seems to be a hardship, an experience of dire terror almost, is still held in the everlasting arms and the goodness of spirit. And this is their true reality. And each is choosing to see that goodness and to let go and let that goodness be. There is only God. There is only good. There is only peace. There is only joy. There is only harmony, because there is only that one knowing itself and expressing itself in the variety that seems to be. So each embraces this truth and the consciousness of remembering the good, forgiving what seems to be not so good, and accepting that right action and divine order, no matter what the appearance, is taking place, because God, the good, the absolute, is in charge. So each rests in that peace and that acceptance that right where I am, right where each is, the totality of goodness is as peace, as ease, as thanksgiving, as the acceptance of harmony and embracing of the good that is, as spirit knowing itself. And we accept this as our truth and see it manifest around us as life expressing in us. Good is all there is, and we're in the midst of it, experiencing good, expressing good, naming and claiming and accepting good as they're all there is, because we are accepting God as all there is. So there is only that peace, only that ease, only that joy that comes from releasing and letting go and letting God be God by means of us as it is and chooses to be. For this I give thanks. And each in their heart says, yes, thank you, and enjoy life as life is embracing and expressing its fullness through each, whether they are in expression as spiritual human beings now or in the afterlife as spiritual human beings, because life is continuous, because God is continuous. And for this, each gives thanks. I give thanks and great thanks, knowing that this is true. I revel in this truth as I release it into the accepting law of mind. And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Judith. Reverend Judith always has powerful prayers. I want to go to those of you who are on the call now who have comments or prayers, things you want to share. There's so many of you. I'm going to start with Anne Marie. And if you're new, you can simply say hi and where you're from, or if you want to comment. And if not, we will pass on to the next person. Anne Marie, good afternoon. Would you like to share? And Anne Marie, you're unmuted if you'd like to share. And we will go to Kathleen afterwards. Hello. Emery, we hear a dog, your dog. Let's go to Kathleen next. Hi, Kathleen. And after Kathleen, we will go to Janetta, if you'd like to share.
Hello. Kathleen here.
Hi, Hi, Kathleen.
Hi, everybody. Happy Memorial Day to all. Thank you, Dr. Greg, for the service today. It certainly has touched my heart in a million ways. And to be with all of you today has been a truly graceful morning. For all of those who have lost people in our lives, to the military people that are still fighting a war that they came home from long ago, I send my love, and I send such my appreciation for this community and to be able to share from my heart, and to all of those who have been a graceful part of my life, whether I like them being there or not.
Right.
They have all taught me something. So have a wonderful day. Thank you, Dr. Greg, Judith, James, Anthony, everybody who makes sure that we're able to do this each and every week. Happy Memorial Day, everybody.
Kathleen, thank you so much for always supporting us and being here. Let's go to Janetta. Hi, Janetta.
Hi, Dr. Greg. Hi, everyone. Thank you for this service today. I just want to thank everyone who fought, in any war and for this country, and everyone who just served. So I had a great week. I'm thankful for my family and just thankful for my life. And everyone have a great week, and I love you all.
Thanks, Janetta. We appreciate you. Let's go to Bradley next. Bradley, how are you? Nice to see you with us.
Hey, Reverend Greg, nice to see you today too. I think today is one of your best presentations ever, so thank you. I would like to give all my thoughts, prayers, and best wishes to all the military people who lost their lives or were maimed or otherwise harmed or just served and made it back safely, protecting our wonderful freedoms. And I'd also, in particular, like to do a shout out to Catherine's mom, Dorothy Harte. Catherine did a wonderful job of taking care of her by her side every day. Sorry, I get emotional talking about Catherine. Was by her mom's side every day for a year, and nobody could have done more for their mom. So I just want a particular shout out to Catherine's mom, Dorothy Harte, who will live on into infinity through all of her wonderful children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and through all her hard work and charitable endeavors she did throughout her life. All my love and prayers to Dorothy Harte, Catherine's mom, and to Catherine and her family.
Thank you, Bradley. Everybody's got Kat and her family in our prayers, and special prayers for her and her family. And Shirley Reed, who's going through something very similar right now with her sister. So all of these prayers are all these people are in our prayers today. Thank you, Bradley. Great to see you today. Let's go to Blith next. Blith, would you like to say hello? Good afternoon. And after Blith, we will go to Dory, if you'd like to say hello.
Hi, Dr. Greg. Hi, Dr. Greg.
Hi.
I'd just like to tell you that I'm deeply grateful. The world needs more of the loving clarity that you're emitting, and thank you for your energy and your groundedness. So many of us are horrified by the recent violence, and we support a shift toward loving awareness and oneness, and to make a tangible, energetic difference.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your kind words. I hope to you're voice went out, but we got most of the message. Thank you, Dory. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go to Linda next. Good afternoon, Linda. Would you like to say hello?
Yes, thank you so much for doing the service, first of all. And oh my gosh, it's it's a mixed bag, because the more you think about the sorrows of other people, the harder it is to feel happy. I especially want to include today the youth of our nation. I didn't include a nephew who went through some trauma with drugs, and I know that this is such a common problem, and I just really pray that there's a lot more guidance and a lot more help. I think if I was young today, wow, it's overload. It's just overload with no guidance, or very little helpful guidance. So I pray for a lot more kindness and awareness and helpfulness for youth in all ways, I know this center in the past has done a lot of youth work, but really needs to be on a very big scale from Spirit. So I pray for that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. It's a very good idea. We're conceiving spirit groups in the building. We've created space, rooms. We know youth, we want to create a program. There's such a need for positive messaging for youth. So maybe you can talk to us more about it. You know, as we get a little group of people together, that it's one of the things that we'd like to do. So thank you for reminding us. Let's go next to Celia's here. God bless us. Celia, want to come up, say hello. Celia is like one of our national treasures. She's right up there with Shirley Reed and Theodora and Reverend Joyce. She's consistently here and contributing in so many ways. Go ahead, Celia.
Hello, I have been genuinely moved by the contributions of all of you. And what I keep thinking about is how First Cause creates, is ever creating, ever expressing life, and how that life is ongoing, it's infinite. It's always unfolding in a pattern of good. From being here at this center, I feel that sense of life ever expressing, ever expanding, of nothing being totally lost, of Spirit showing up in all forms to bless us, even in times of pain. The power and presence for good is standing with us, helping each and every one get through harsh experiences. This past week has been devastating on many levels. In my experience, I've been aware of human suffering. I have to remember the teaching here that suffering is not God ordained, and that there is that which is always rising above suffering, and that it's well and okay to grieve. You start with yourself where you are. You're feeling pain, you're feeling grief, but keep in your mind the awareness that Spirit is standing by you, is helping to hold you up and sustain you. Bless this center, bless the ministers and the practitioners who have given so much to all of us, the members. I come here supporting as a member, and you support us as members too. Bless our virtual community, as well as our ongoing in-person community. I'll stop now because I want so much to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Celia. Thank you, Celia. That was wonderful. Let's go to Anne Marie next. Anne Marie, would you like to share? Good
Sure.
afternoon. Hi.
Hi, good morning from Washington
Hi.
State, Pacific Northwest. Very happy to be here. It's my first experience with you and your center. So I'm really excited. I think just to piggyback on what I just heard about, suffering is not God ordained.
Right.
That's so powerful because I see it all the time, you know, when I get better because of my personal trials. I've been aware about human suffering my whole entire life, but I think after having this awakening around 2014, when my brother passed, I felt like this deep sadness and grief that I was lost in. And then when I found my way through, because of, you know, that feeling that you can't deny when God comes down in your bathroom, like right here. I'm in my bathroom now, actually, but that's my sacred space. And I did have those moments, fetal position and all the things. And what I noticed is that when I come back and I feel stronger and I'm able to lead in a way that is good and fruitful, because I'm able to now serve others who have gone through similar trials, or it just makes sense that, you know, I also heard Spirit is helping to hold you up and sustain you. That is so wonderful to come back to after the initial hit or shock of the pain or the thing that rocks your world and leaves you in grief so interpretable. So I think it's such a beauty. It's such a blessing and a beautiful thing that we can remember suffering is not God ordained. There is much suffering in the world, but if we can remember, we, you know, with all these attacks, they can dim our light. We, the lifters, and the more that we participate in these sort of settings so that we can hear other people and not feel like we are isolated in our thinking and our beliefs. And so I really appreciate this space that, you know, it's encouraging me and inspiring me to move on with that grief. So again, like I said in the prayer request, my sister died a few months ago. And so, yeah, it's been devastating. And I saw myself go from that good place of being able to serve to that place of being in the valley and needing the service. So I appreciate that it is a cycle, and I'm on my way, you know, back to the service place. And I'm really grateful for knowing that this exists so I can strengthen that and be more powerful in the way that I serve my community. So thank you.
Anne Marie, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing all that.
Thanks for have a good day. Thank you for everything and pray for all of us.
Yeah, thank you. Join us anytime. Also, we meet on Thursday after Thursdays at 7 if you're able. And your family's in our prayers.
Thank you.
Okay. I want to go to Seth next. Hi, Seth. Seth, everybody's praying for your family and Kath. How are you today?
Well, we're walking around Sleepy Eye Lake. It's very windy, so I hope you can hear me all right.
Seth, we got some wind.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I know. We're walking around Sleepy Eye Lake, and it's very windy, so I'll keep it brief. Thank you for remembering all of my family in your prayers, Greg. And the whole community. I know Kat is very grateful as well. And I just want to say that all of those people I mentioned in that, including my grandparents, my uncles, my dad, my mom, were all involved in the Second World War effort. My dad was in the submarines. My Uncle Harry was in the Army, second wave at D-Day. My Uncle Bill was an engineer with Patton's Army, helped to build the bridges to cross the Rhine River. And all of them came back, all my uncles and cousins, and obviously my mom and dad. My mom was in Brooklyn Navy Yard helping the Navy with logistics. And all of them came back, all of them survived the war, which was quite miraculous for a large family with lots of service people. But they all served. And I just want to share one thing my dad told me as a 21-year-old Navy officer on the submarines. He was depth charged mercilessly on their first voyage out of Pearl Harbor. And they all expected to die because in the submarine, if a depth charge hits you, it's all over. Everybody's gone. And he said every day after that they survived, he opened his eyes and felt, God bless this beautiful country. God bless my life, my family. I'm just so happy to be alive. And that's what he took out of the war, gratitude and happiness. And he lived 78 years, 79 years after that day, and every day was a blessing for him. So thanks, Greg. I really appreciate everything.
Well, thank you, Seth. You remind me of my father being in the Navy during the time of Pearl Harbor. He survived it too. So you caused me to remember that. I'd forgotten. Thank you. Lots of love. Let's go to Kat.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks for everything.
Yes, yes. Hi, Kath. If Kath is there or no? Okay, Kath is gone. I want to get Shirley Reed. I think she's on the call. Shirley, how are you?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for all the love, all the prayers, all the affirmative prayers, and all the good that you're sending in my direction. And I want to thank everyone on this call and let you know that love guides and directs each one of us. And love is a presence. God is a presence that's everywhere, evenly present. There's not a spot where God is not. There's not a spot where love is not. And I want to give thanks that each and every one of us on this call has the courage to stay mindful that love is our banner. We love each other. If we stay connected, if we cheer each other on and bring each other forward, we will always have a good experience. I love our center. I love everyone that's on the call and the whole world. What the world needs now is more love. And we know it, we feel it, we practice it. We move higher. Thinking about my dear friend Theodora Parker and Reverend Joyce. I give thanks to them for their consciousness because they taught me love. They showed me love. Reverend Joyce gave a very large contribution or donation to the church. She not only donated her time, but her talents, her abilities, her words. She encouraged us. Reverend Theodora encouraged us. Love was her banner. She taught it to me, and I feel it. And I want to thank you all. Please continue to stay with us. Our congregation is growing in leaps and bounds, and it's through love. Happy Memorial Day, everyone. Thank you.
Shirley, thank you. You're one of our treasures. And everybody on this call, let's send our prayers to Shirley and her beautiful sister. And Shirley, you're doing God's work, and we all know it. So we're all sending you love and prayers today. And thank you for all your very positive remarks too. Let's go to Tara next. Hi, Tara. And after Tara, we have Walter. Tara, are you there? Would you like to say hello? We'll go from Tara to Walter. If either of you'd like to say hello.
Thank you can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Walter, how are you?
Thank you for the service. It was nice, and thank you for your time and efforts. Okay.
Great, Walter. I'm glad you're with us. Thank you. Let us go to Patricia next. Hi, Patricia. And Anthony is pointing me now to Juella. Hi, Juella.
Muted. Hello?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. I got an invitation to this service. I guess sometimes I subscribe to some Hay House things.
Yes.
And one thing that I found with Louise Hay, she helped me a lot, even though I didn't know her personally. But her spirit, her energy was guiding me to strengthen my commitment to myself and to my spiritual path when I felt lost several times throughout my life, and a lot of things kind of came like a big old avalanche, I guess, because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of times we just think we're just going to get through it, and we just keep going and we just keep pressing it down, but it's still there. And we still have to deal with, either past traumas, pain, or whatever. And we just can't just get through it. And I really didn't know how. And it's funny that churches, Christian churches, some of them, and other practices possibly, they don't really show you how to really process all this stuff. You know what I mean? Where do you put it? How do you deal with it spiritually? And how you unpack it, when you have years of things that have been accumulated over time that you never really dealt with,
Right.
So when I started listening to her on YouTube, 101, affirmations, her voice and the way she, spoke and how she was uplifting started to kind of like pull me out of myself and kind of look at things a little bit differently. And I moved from being like in a victim mentality and feeling like everybody's against me, and stopped being in a fearful place and moving more towards self-acceptance. So I appreciate this invitation to join your congregation, if you call it a congregation or a gathering of like-minded people, and that have an understanding and an awareness of, of themselves and moving into a similar direction. And I really, 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 yes, I know she died, but I'm just saying, when I found her, I had to, backtrack, but the spirit doesn't die. Her energy is in this room, and her energy is, with the publishing company Hay House, and because of that, I was able to do journal writing, do moonology, and find myself.
Yes.
So I think I'm in a good place with this circle of like-minded people. I hear healers and shamans and light workers, and I'm into oracle cards, and a lot of people don't understand oracle cards, and they think I'm doing witchcraft, and I'm like, no. So I feel good that I'll be in a place where I can feel fully accepted and also develop my spiritual talents as well. And I'll just share these cards. You may not believe, but a Kyle Gray has the angel guide, and the card that came up is holy love and honesty and communications. And it resonates with everyone that is saying today, but also the green tarot card comes from his Keepers of the Light deck. We are in supreme protection. And we need to cover ourselves and cover our families and not lose our sense of self or our joy and our, our own peace, and not to be discouraged, because we are in supreme protection and holy love. And we have to be honest and with ourselves first, and we can be honest with others, and we can keep the lines of communication open, especially now that we're moving into the new moon of Gemini. Namaste, Ashe. Thank you. So be it.
Joella, thank you for sharing all of that. Every Thursday afternoon at 7 p.m., we have what's called our Hay and Holmes class, where we basically are following a lesson from the book You Can Heal Your Life. The thing you might not know is Louise Hay got her education right here at this center. Our original name was First Church of Religious Science. This is where Louise Hay learned from Raymond Charles Barker, Stuart Grayson. And so we're directly connected with her. And every week for probably the past 30 years, I've been facilitating a group discussion on the very book that you so love. So I hope you can join us on Thursdays at 7. I'm sure you have a lot of wisdom to share with us. So thank you for being with us, Joella. We're going to go to...
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you found us. Let's go to Julia next. Hi, Julia. And after Julia, we'll go to Kristen. Whoever turns on their mic first. I'm going to go to Judith to the end. So who else is here? We've got Joella, Joella's just spoke. Maria or Kristen or Julia, whoever.
I'm good. Oh, sorry.
Hi.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank everyone for sharing and for the message, Greg, and my prayers are with everyone. And I'm glad that today we took this day to remember those that fought for our country, for our freedom, and for those children and those families that lost their children this week. And I want to pray for them, and I pray that God may give them to the family strength and comfort to make it through something so difficult and something so imaginable. And I also want to pray for those that survived that trauma, those students. I'm a teacher. And for those students that survive and those teachers that survive, that were so afraid for their life, I pray for them. And I pray that God might bring healing and justice, that we can change the rules, and that something good will come out of something so horrible, meaning peace and changes in gun laws, so that we can keep our children safe in our schools.
Amen. Thank you so much, Maria. We're with you in prayer, honestly. Thank you for being with us today. We can go to Christian or Julia if you'd like to share.
Didn't work.
Did we hear you?
Can you hear?
Yeah. Hi. Now you just muted yourself.
Shoot. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay. So no, it's my first time here for a while. I'm nice to see you, Greg.
Welcome. Oh, is it Kristen D?
Yes.
How are you?
Good. Doing well. So still here in Hollywood. But yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I'm going to try to be here more often, so just want to say thank you for everybody. And it's a good lesson as usual, Greg. Thank you so much.
thrilled to see you or to know you're with us.
Thank you, my dear.
You're with me in mind even when you're not here. So thank you.
Thanks.
I think now I'm going to ask Jimmy to come up. He's got a little bit of a preacher in him and he's good with prayers. So Jimmy can come up and share his thoughts on some of these subjects. Welcome, Jimmy.
Thank you everyone for being part of the class and lesson today. And I just know there are no happenstances or coincidences with life and with spirit. Every situation has been orchestrated to bring us to where we are today. And we're here and we're living our lives because someone or some people have sowed into what we are today. Some people have labored and we have today, and we're grateful for the today that we have. And it's now on us to work towards making tomorrow better for the younger ones. And basically that's what we also gather here each time to do, because we come and teach us very deep principles of life that will help us create the tomorrow that we all want and we are praying for. And for all those who have sown their lives and their time to make today a reality, we are very grateful. And for those that lost loved ones, we are praying that the peace and love that passes all understanding will be yours and your family. And that the situations which have come would create opportunities for joy and prosperity and laughter and thanksgiving. And we're also praying and agreeing that things will work out positively for the center. And we are declaring that we'll move from positions of where we are to positions of light and grace and abundance and peace and pathways of joy for the center too. And praying also that our center will grow in leaps and bounds. And for everything that we have set out to do, we said we are a welcoming spiritual community, and we are here to transform lives for empowered living. And we are agreeing that this will be our portion here in this center, because whenever divine spirits come together and agree concerning a thing, and knowing our connection with spirit, we expect that, and with faith, we know that shall come to pass. So this will be the portion for this center, and we're grateful for that. And we're also doing a lot of things, and we're wanting to remind you of June 12th. We want people to come to the center. If you're around New York, June 12th is our welcoming party, and we'll be so glad to welcome all of you to the center June 12th. So thank you, everyone. God bless you all. If you also want to support what we are doing here at the center, we have our links to the donate buttons in the chat room. And we have one to our website, one to PayPal, one to Amazon Smile. And I also want to thank everyone who has been donating to the center and praying for us. We feel your love all around here in the center. So thank you, everyone, and God bless you all. We'll have Celia night for the community time, and it's very interesting discussion. It says never, never compare. I'd like to bring Dr. Greg back.
Okay, everybody. I want to thank you all for being with us today. This has been a beautiful session. of prayer, and I believe we've remembered everybody. And if we haven't, it's our intention to bring everybody into prayer. We want to lift ourselves up. We want to remember our center. Our center especially needs your prayer and your support. We're doing incredible work, as they say. And we won't go down. You know, we want to keep on growing and serving people, and keep reminding people of the truth of who they are, the beauty and the power that they possess. So I'm going to close with a quick prayer. Then I'll go to Reverend Judith for a moment, and then we're going to invite Celia up here. Let us together know that we are one with Spirit, one with Source, and that we have power. We have power that's in us, operating through us. It's available to us. As we center ourselves in that deep knowing, we can sense that power. As we go from our heads into our hearts, we can feel and sense that there is something within us. And there is something alive in its spirit, and it's wanting us to connect with it. And dream bigger dreams, dreams of unity and dreams of inclusion and dreams of love and acceptance. And we bring everybody into that heart space today. Every person that was mentioned, every person that's suffering, every family that's been affected by any of the things we've spoken of today. We bring in Reverend Theodora, we bring in Shirley, we bring in Reverend Joyce, we bring in all of the pain, the suffering, and we bring in all the people who have inspired us into our prayer today, and let it all inform our heart. And let us put a demand on consciousness now for unification and the remembrance that we're one, and that we are a community that celebrates one life, one love, and we know that we're all part of this creative intelligence, this beautiful energy, and we freely give it out into the world and lift ourselves up and others. So we close this morning in great gratitude for all of you who have shared and participated, and who are holding this ministry up high in your consciousness and prayer, and really holding up the world. So thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you, whoever can be here on Sunday. I'd like to have Judith have a word, a quick one, and then we're going to have Celia here in just a moment. Reverend Judith, go ahead.
Dr. Harte, that was such a wonderful closing treatment that you gave. I don't know what to say now. So well, I'm just, yes, that was wonderful.
You can welcome Celia. Whatever
okay,
you want.
I can welcome Celia. Okay, I'll do that. So now we have the privilege and the pleasure of a wonderful lesson from our own Celia. So Celia, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Judith.
Thank you.
And Celia is coming forth.
Okay.
And we're excited. She always has insightful things.
Okay, get up.
Thank you, everybody. Here's Celia.
Thank you.